Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.
Hello and welcome to 15 Minutes of Genius. I'm your somewhat kind of genius host, Alex Baer, CEO and co-founder of Genius Juice. And we provide whole coconut smoothies, coconut water, coconut meat. That's my little plug for the day. So anyway, I want to give a big shout out first to our producer, Mark. There he is, Mark Nicholas. Mark N. at ManhattanBeatStudios.net. He looks very serious. The funny thing, I've never seen him that serious in my life. Usually he always has a smile on his face. Great photo selection where you look like you're literally intimidated and ready to punch someone in the face. So thank you, Mark, for that great photo.
Here I am. Thank you, Alex.
He spent a lot of time working on that line. A lot of time. That wasn't canned at all. Anyway, I'm giving him a heart. I'm giving him shit.
You're doing a great job, Alex.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to talk like you. All right. He has a great voice, much better than mine. So thank you, Mark. Mark Nicholas, Mark N. at ManhattanBeatStudios.net. He is our producer. He does podcasts as well, like the Zen Blonde, a great podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts, gets a ton of views. Make sure to reach out to him because you can make your own podcast dream happen, become a reality. So our guest, just met her right before the taping. I've known her through LinkedIn, but first time actually meeting through video. Her name is Mariam Elghani, and she is the founder of Mariam's Garlic Goddess. A little bit about her brand and product. They are the makers of wholesale gourmet and specialty Lebanese packaged food products. They currently offer Lebanese garlic toum dips, and then also launching soon, says on here, flaky and thin pita chips, grab-and-go falafel bites, grab-and-go tabbouleh, labneh dips. I'm really hoping I'm not mispronouncing anything. Baba ganoush, I know how to pronounce that. Eggplant dips, currently distributed in Independence in Northern California and Southern California. Mariam'sGarlicGoddess.com. Mariam, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Great to meet you. Love the background,
Likewise.
the simplicity, the white wall background. Very cool. Very cool.
Thanks.
So I'd like to we have a lot of things to unpack here and talk about, right? There's a few reasons we brought you on the show just from connecting on LinkedIn, but I'd like to start with just your story of the product, what you're offering. Looks like and sounds like it's very cultural, close to your heart. So why don't you share about your product, when you started it, and where you are at today?
Thank you. Started the company back in 2018. My family is mixed Lebanese and Yemeni, but I really love the Lebanese food. And my dad mom and dad started a restaurant in the Silicon Valley and pretty much grew up there, started working there from the age of 15. And so I got inspired to kind of enter into the grocery world when I met somebody in the industry, and I decided it would be really cool to bring, my grandma's recipes to the grocery world shelf. And I started out with one of my favorite dips, which is the Lebanese garlic toum. You can't find it, or you couldn't back then find it on the shelf at all when I started. So that's what I was aiming on starting with, and bringing that product to the American consumer, and decided now recently to kind of expand and bring more of my family's products to the community. We aim to use completely, non-GMO ingredients, locally sourced from, California farmers, and Gilroy garlic, and just making it high quality, and doing what we can to help others with what the net profit we make from the company.
And then, hopefully I didn't miss this, but as far as the net profit and where you're donating some of your proceeds, where is that going? What's the cause?
So I decided to donate to the Joyful Heart Foundation. So 3 is just my favorite number. It's my birthday day, and I decided to donate 3% net profit to the Joyful Heart Foundation. And that organization helps survivors of domestic violence, child abuse, PTSD, survivors of sexual assault too. I made that decision a long time ago, and continuing with it. So little by little, hopefully we can donate more and more to the organization and make a difference in communities everywhere.
Absolutely, it's happening a lot more than we think, right? These assaults and sexual assaults and everything that you're supporting. So it's happening everywhere, and we got to bring more awareness to the fact that it's happening. So
Absolutely.
part of this episode, right, is, and it's not easy to talk about, but Mariam has volunteered to come on our show and to talk about this and certain events that have happened, right, and really shining a light on this, right? So it's never easy to talk about these things, but something happened at a recent event. And she came on here to share her experiences there. And I think she's obviously very courageous and brave to be doing this, because I think the word needs to get out. We need to put certain organizations on blast that this is happening, and they need to be more careful about how they are, taking care of these events to make sure everyone is safe and feeling comfortable and not under any threat. But what's really shocking about the story that she's going to tell is that this is happening right in our backyard. This is happening in public. This is happening at a show that a lot of us in the food and beverage space, CPG space, we go to, that's highly respected. So I brought her on here to talk about this and to make sure that something is done about this. So this is going to be your megaphone to get to the people on LinkedIn and YouTube to share your story. So I'm going to let you have the floor, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing. All right, go ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you for the opportunity. Expo West, I was so excited for it and really planning for it for a long time. And like everybody in the industry, it's like my favorite time of year for years. And this year in particular, because we're getting out of COVID and, really looking forward to those in-person connections. But the first 2 days were okay. And then, unfortunately, I had a number of experiences where, I'm in the middle of a conversation with a person, a man, and, inappropriate comment is made or a request is made at the end of the conversation. We're talking business the whole time or getting to know one another, networking. And then a request is made for me, to go to their hotel room and have sex. And it happened a number of times at the event, both on the event floor and at the hotels that everybody networks at after the show. So that happened, and then multiple times. And that was frustrating and tough, and I did talk about it with some of the friends I was walking the floor with on Friday, and they had shared that some stuff had happened to them, comments, inappropriate comments, and just people focusing on their looks and correlating that to their success and not their hard work or their intellect. And I was frustrated, and I told them I've already been asked to have sex like 5 times, and they were like, what? I'm not sure why it went that far with my experiences, but it did. And as a result of my post, other people came forward to me on private message saying that XYZ happened to them as well. So I know I'm not alone in that. And then unfortunately, Saturday, somebody did try to grab me inappropriately, force himself on me. And, that was what triggered me to get really angry and sad and emotional, but also completely rightfully so. But it triggered me to just finally say something about it. It was a split-second decision while I was at the airport, maybe 10 hours before I was supposed to be, because I wanted to leave the danger zone, which at the time was Expo West. Mm-hmm. So I sat there for 10 hours and wrote the post and that was it. And just while I was there, the post was exploding, and that's what happened. So, yeah.
Yeah. Again, like, thank you for Mariam for being so courageous and sharing this. And this is definitely something very different, right? That we're sharing on this podcast. And I wanted to have you on because, like, a lot of people watch it. We want to, just create the awareness that this is actually happening. So I discovered your post. That's how I knew about this story. And your post, I think, from what I saw, got hundreds of thousands of views and like tons of, support, right? And comments and things of that nature. And so I messaged Mariam, and I'm like, and then also Jeremy Smith at Launchpad USA, he posted sharing your story, and other people shared your story that were so disappointed and angry with what is happening right in our backyard at supposed to be a family-friendly show, right? That for networking and building your business. And after a lot of my friends were resharing this, I messaged Mariam and said, you have to come on and share your story. And here she is. But I just want to at least say that Expo West needs to do something about this, and they need to address this. This is terrible. I mean, in this space, this is, I wouldn't say a male-dominated space, but unfortunately, there's less women that are in a CEO or founder role than men. Right, I think in this space in general, right, or raising money, right, it's majority are men, right. So I think there's been movements, by like Maxine at LDR Ventures, right, to support women-led businesses. So this is getting out there more and more to support women in business. But the fact that this is happening at Expo West is just, I was shocked to even read it. I'm like, I can't believe this is even happening. Like, why would this is so terrible. So hopefully Expo West can, at least make a official announcement on this and say we are aware of the issue. And the next year, or at Expo East, right, coming up in 4 months or 5 months, we're going to do something about this, that if anyone is assaulted, sexually assaulted, or they're spoken to in the wrong way, there's going to be security on premises to go to them, and they will enforce it and come down on this person right away. So I hope they make a move and do something to prevent this from happening again. What are your, what do you want to see happen with Expo? Like, what do you want them to see do? Have you reached out to them? Have they responded to you? What's happening there?
They reached out to me actually as a result of the post going viral.
Oh, wow.
Which is great. Yeah, so I spoke to Carlotta and somebody else, I'm forgetting the name, but I did have a brief meeting with them and kind of let them know some more details about what happened, specifically about an incident that happened on the floor, as well as the other incidents, but I think the floor one in particular was, yeah, so they are aware of it. They've made the intention to address it and change. I don't know what has happened, but I know that they have vocalized that they're going to do everything that they can. It will be interesting to see what happens, in reality, how it's actually implemented, and if we actually do see a change. And hopefully it's not all talk. They seem genuine and sincere, so I don't want to throw them under the bridge or anything. But I think also it is maybe a PR nightmare a little bit for them. So
yeah,
not my intention or anything, but I just hope it actually happens. So we'll see what happens. But they did make like an official announcement maybe a week or two after I put the post. We don't condone it, and so on and so forth. So we'll see, I guess.
One question, I think they should come around, and they will do something, not only obviously to protect their own interests, but also, which is part of it, they are a business, but also to protect the people at the show. So, I mean, I do have a lot of respect for New Hope, and I'm hopeful, right, that they will do the right thing here. And I'm sure they need to address this, because this is, not only did it happen to you, you said, I think up to 5 times there was some kind of assault, either verbal or physical, but also to your friends as well. And that's just, it's insane that this is happening in public on the floor, like in front of a lot of people. Mariam, a question I have, did you go to anyone, just only detailed question, did you go to anyone at the show, like security, especially I think someone you said grabbed you or followed you? Did you go to security? Did you go to the police? Have you taken any action there?
I had filed a report, and I did go to somebody initially right when it happened. I went to a male friend of mine for help, and unfortunately, he did not believe me and took the other man's side. So that's what happened. That's the reality of the situation. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I did go to somebody for help, and I was shut down. So, I think what I have to say about that is when somebody says to you that this happened to them, like especially in the moment, I know it's shocking for people probably, and it's his friend or something like that. But believe them first, I think, or try to protect them, or do whatever you can in that moment. Don't go on the defense of your friend or your buddy or whatever. And we're all friends in this industry. We all know it's a small industry. We all know one another in one way or another, and it can be very disheartening and disturbing when we find out somebody we know did something totally inappropriate to somebody else we know. But the reality of the situation is we're all human, and there's good and bad people within this industry. And I don't know what to say. I guess I'm a little flustered right now, but I would hope that in coming out with this, that people will be a little bit more aware of their surroundings and a little bit more considerate. And if somebody comes to you for help them for God's sake.
Definitely. And believe them, right? There's no reason this story would be made up. This happened, right? And, I'm a really big fan of justice, right? Like bringing justice. It's like my wife actually tells me, like, you could be like almost like a lawyer. I would never want to be a lawyer, but she's like, you really want justice when someone does something. I'm the kind of person that when I see a driver driving recklessly, right? They go through a red light, even though nothing happened, I call the police and report them. And I report their license plate. I report what street they're on, because it may not happen that time where they hurt someone, but if they keep doing that over and over, it's going to become worse and worse and worse. And eventually they could really even more damage someone, right, for life, right, or do something, go cross the line way too much. So something needs to be done. Like we've talked about that. But these people that have done it, they need to be brought to justice. They need to lose their jobs. They need to be fired, not allowed at the event. That's how far that this should be taken. And I don't even think that's that far. I think that's totally reasonable. They should not be let in the doors for any Expo West, and they should be banned for a very, very long time, and definitely let go of their jobs because they're not representing their companies well. So I hope it can get to that place of justice. And I'm just praying that there's some retribution for this and that they don't just get away with it, because they don't deserve that.
Hope so. I think as somebody who's gone through a prior sexual assault trial, they mentioned on the post, I know that unfortunately the reality of the situation is that is highly unlikely. They could be banned from the show. Certainly that would be up to the show. But for anything further, it's like it's hard to get justice in this respect. That things are changing post Me Too movement. And that's great. And so people should totally, if they feel comfortable, come forward and speak up, because only with time will things really change. But for those people who want me to post the name online and so on and so forth, I would say, kindly respect that there are reasons why I can't and won't, and but also that I am handling it, and that the other people who shared stories are handling it in the best way that they know how to as well. And that unfortunately in the society and culture we live in at this time, there is not much that happens, unfortunately. So the best thing to do is to have these safety measures in place so that people don't even get to the point where they're in danger in the first place. That's the best way. Preventative measures is the best way.
Exactly. Well, I think Expo West, like you said, they reached out to you, they've heard your message, and I'm sure you'll keep us posted on LinkedIn what actions that they're going to take, because we all want to know, especially women want to know. They want to feel safe and protected and comfortable at these shows to network and build their business. So really, like, knock on wood, I'm hoping that they will take action in the next show, and make sure that prevent this from happening as much as possible. So, it's thank you again for sharing all this, and not an easy subject, super brave, as mentioned, to come on our show and share this for 20, 25 minutes. And, so I think that's the end of our show. I'm not going to go through the other stuff we usually do. This is a different kind of format for today, but, Mariam, really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, and do please keep us posted. And I guess I'll say it too, that come forward, right? Like, you have this story that Mariam is sharing as an inspiration to not be afraid and to come forward, report this to the authorities, report this to Expo West, and just have a voice to, just to make a change in the future so this doesn't happen to other people.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, thank you again, Mariam, for being on. Take good care. Have a wonderful night. And thanks again for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Again, I highly encourage anyone that's been affected, doesn't even have to be Expo West, just at a trade show, anything, or in public, like, come forward, be vocal. The biggest thing that really upsets me is that people are getting away with this. Not only are they, just affecting someone's life, a woman's life, and like they're going to be scared or scarred or afraid to go out again because of what happened, but that they're getting away with this, with it, and there's no justice. So hopefully we can change that and bring some of these people to justice, and they pay for what they get, right? There's always consequences for your actions, and that's what we need to do here more and more. So Expo West, just putting you on the hot seat. You got to do something about this, and I certainly hope that you do as soon as possible. All right, well, thank you for joining us. Again, that's episode 138. A big plug to Mark Nicholas, Mark N. ManhattanBeachStudios.net. He is a guy that put this all together. So thank you, Mark, for creating this platform for people to share their stories. And one last thing, just stay safe and stay genius, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.